and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and ramp. Sequencing. Sequencing is built upon the foundation of the track that sits below the property video. There is no two ways about it. The music you use for a property video is the most important aspect and can either make or break the project. There's no two ways about it. But it's also the most difficult, challenging task to find a track that you like. You sit there for hours sometimes with the decision fatigue, scrolling through MusicBed, scrolling through Artlist, scrolling through Premium Beat or any of these other platforms. Or even worse, scrolling through YouTube on other people's real estate videos until you find one that's going to work for your project, but then you're no longer unique. And just through working hands-on with hundreds of real estate media business owners who aren't naturally musically minded, I've understood that it's the most challenging task in the game, but it is the most important. And in life, my firm belief is that anything that is difficult is typically the most worthwhile. So it makes sense. And so in this video, I'm going to break down my rationale when I'm selecting music for real estate videos. That literally gives me the ability to bank more tracks than I can possibly ever use on real estate videos with ease and in under 15 minutes each and every time. For anyone who's been in any of our programs, you'll know the 15-minute rule is something that I stick by. And it's what's allowed me to create some of the most impactful real estate videos to date on YouTube, but ultimately given me the ability to run an extremely highly profitable business because I have predictability in the real estate video process. Because you've heard me talk about it many times, we're monetizing creativity. And we can't leave that up to chance. We can't leave that up to a selection process that could take 45 minutes one day and could take 3 hours the next, particularly when it comes to scaling out a team, no matter whether they're onshore or offshore. So I want to take a step back. I grew up playing piano. I'm very musically minded. So if you're sitting there thinking, I don't have it, or I can't feel it, I can't hear it, you're not alone. And you don't need to look at my stuff and think, oh shit, Danny's just got all the best tracks. It comes from a deep rooted understanding and many years, not only playing music, but also studying it for many years at school. And it's because of that foundational understanding of the impact that music can have on people, on the listener, that I think has given me an advantage in being able to inspire people through the work that I put out, because video is driven by the track that's on it. And when I brought that to real estate videos, it's like an extension of the emotion we're trying to inflict upon the viewer. And that's the way I look at it. And I don't want to talk too much, I hate talking these bullshit from the heart, really esoterical topics, but I know a lot of people find value in this process. And so what music taught me, and particularly studying music, was that there's structure. There's structure that sits behind most or every track that's ever been created. And we've never been in a time where, particularly the licensed music, when we look at, MusicBed, Artlist, and all these other platforms, the common trend is very consistent. It's very structured and it's very simple. And that's what we like to use with real estate videos, because when we understand the music, it gives us the ability to dial real estate videos down to a framework. So it's predictable and easy every single time. So you're not stuck there for hours on end choosing music. So you can literally build a library, a spreadsheet of tracks that you come back to that are all absolutely belters that you can just pick from each and every time you come up with a video. And the more you do this practice, the more you do these 15-minute sessions where you go and track select, the more you actually output and the more you actually bank up in the list. So just by the nature of that process, you can just never run out of music, which is what I find to be so damn fantastic. So what we need to consider is that every track has a time signature. I'm going to explain this to a 3rd grade level. This is what people don't understand, but this is the way in which I explain it. Every track has a time signature. And what I mean by this is that it, or most commonly, is the 4/4 time signature. Now that's a little bit technical, but I'm going to break this down. So it may sound something along the lines of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 4 and 4 and 4 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. This is what you're looking for in my experience when I look at real estate videos or, you know, electronic music in today's day and age. It's all built upon a structure of the 4/4 time signature. So the first thing I do when I look at a piece of music, especially for real estate video, is I identify if it is in fact the 4/4 time signature, which for most of the stuff, like I mentioned, it is. Now, what does this give me the ability to do? This gives me the ability to really look at the track as if it's sections, right? So when I count through the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, that's one section. And the next one, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, it's the next section. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, next section. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now, every count is where I have the ability to cut the clip, to have a new clip in that section, to have a new clip that sits upon that particular beat. And so what I do is, in identifying where the beats are, I can actually dial the property video down to a science. Now, what does this look like? 1 and 2 and 3 and ramp, and 1 and 2 and 3 and ramp, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and ramp. Sequencing. Sequencing is built upon the foundation of the track that sits below the property video. There is no two ways about it. So now the property video becomes easy, because what this gives us the ability to do is to put our track on the timeline first. We'll identify our track, put it on the timeline, and have a look. Where are the sections within our track? So what we do is we look at, where's the main drop? Where's the main drop that's going to be the big wide straight push shot that goes into the property? And that's where we're going to have the most impact. That's where we're going to hook the viewer. On that main beat, identify where that 1 is. You'll have a bit of a build up, and then boom. And then from here, we're going to look at the different sections that exist and pre-map in our head exactly where the ramps are going to be, exactly where the cuts are going to be. And it truly does come down to a science. And this is why when you work in this way or work in this method, and why I've taught in this way, is all based on the foundation of how can we make property videos faster, more efficiently than anybody else in the market, and boil it down to a science that actually gives us the ability to make it so damn creative, because the guesswork's left out. It gives us now the ability to add as much creative flair as we'd want, because we know exactly where clips are going to fit. We know exactly how we're going to intertwine with the particular track that we've chosen. So how does the 15-minute rule work? How does the 15-minute rule work? What we want to do, or what I've observed through not only having the team at Futura Avenue for many years track select, but myself being a highly creative person, a super perfectionist, what I do is I've identified that if I set myself 15 minutes to find a track, I'll do it in 15 minutes. If I set myself an endless kind of stress pressure pot of like, I need to find something, but there's no deadline on it, you'll just simply never find the track. Because this phenomenon happens in your head, this thing happens in your head. And I've just seen this through working hands-on with hundreds of creative people. This thing happens where we sit there and we actually find a track that will work, but we think that there's going to be something better beyond. We can never settle for what we find. It's such an interesting thing. And I thought this was just myself, but I've seen this with so many other creators. We think that there's something better beyond. And so we continue in this doom loop of like, no, it's not right. It's not right. It's not right. But they are. And so when we know what we're looking for, we can set ourselves 15 minutes. And in that 15-minute period, the goal is to not only find one, but our 3 top tracks within that 15-minute period. Because what does this do? Well, the property video is only going to use 1. So what have we got left? 2 residual selections that does us 2 things. Number 1, if in fact we bring the track into the timeline and we don't like it, we now have our 2 other options. So we're not back to the drawing board, spending another 45 minutes looking for the next one. But number 2, these 2 residual tracks that are left over go in the bank. They go in the bank. So for every action, for every 15-minute process or 15-minute time frame that we dedicate to actually selecting a track for a property video, we output more than what we're actually using on that particular project. It's a surplus. And this is how you bank up a list of tracks that just all work. You're just never behind. You're just never stuck searching for music, because that day when you're under the pump, and that day when your mind's not there, you're not thinking creatively, you're not in the mindset, you're a little bit burnt out, that day where you need that banger track, it's sitting there in the spreadsheet or in the list, ready to be used. Right? This is your insurance. This is your safety net. This is the way I like to operate it. So when it comes to choosing a track, when we look at the parameters inside of something like MusicBed, Artlist, these types of platforms, the royalty-free platforms, what we're looking for is a general genre of track, right? And you hear people talk about this all the time, and boil this down to a simple science. What I personally like is using the parameters of, ambient, cinematic. I hate using that word, but cinematic, ambient, cinematic, moderate pace. I really try to describe what the feel of the property is, or the feel of the video is, in those parameters. And what I do is, what you'll see is you'll have a list of tracks. And what I look for in the waveform, as you're looking at the waveform, you'll know there's the waveform. What you're looking for is, with my mouse, I'm clicking to where I can see the spike on where I can kind of gauge that the first drop in the track is, because that's going to be that main hit. And that usually gives me the indication as to whether this track's going to be usable or not. So I'm looking down the list and I'm clicking right on the waveform on each and every track in the list right before where that drop is, because I want to hear that drop. So I click, listen. I either go, is it yes? Is it no? If it is yes, I save it. If it's a no, I move on. It's a very fast process, and I'm just listening, moving down, dun, 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 dun. And my aim in that 15-minute period, literally with a timer set on my phone, is to find 3 tracks that non-negotiable I'm going to use on this particular property video. Okay. And so as I've gone through this list, I've picked the track that I want. And what I'm looking for is that, I'm considering time signature. Is it something that's going to be super easy to cut to? Typically, the The 4/4 time signature that we discussed earlier on in the piece is what we're looking for. Is the chord progression simple? Where it may be chord 1, chord 2, chord 3, chord 4, chord 1, chord 2, chord 3, chord 4, which then further creates sections? Is it simplistic? But what you'll find with these royalty-free platforms is that most of the tracks in today's day and age are built on simplicity. The more simple, the better. And in fact, the more simple, the more impactful. So when it comes to the structure of the real estate video, it's actually predetermined by the artist of the track. For example, the intro of the property video, it's building up. It's building up. That's the intro of the track. It's typically building up. It's building up, it's building up until that first drop. That first drop's going to be, our main living space. Section may go to kitchen, dining room, important aspects of the property. Until we get to potentially in the track, the bridge, where it kind of changes. It's a variation in the track. And the bridge is typically where you may go outside the property. It's a little bit different. It's engaging. Which then it comes back inside the property, where you're showing arterial rooms, the ones that aren't as important. To then the outro of the track, which is typically, where it's finishing up is quite soft and it fades out. You look at 99% of tracks, they all follow this similar structure. And what happens when it's fading out? That should be the last shot of the property. That's your outro. It's very easy. But the reason your property videos may be taking so much longer than they need to be is because you're stuck in the decision fatigue of making the selection, or the selections in which you're making are quite difficult tracks to edit to. So this is the process. I know this seems simple. I know this seems so damn simple, but this conversation we're having right now has changed the mindset of some of the fastest and most talented real estate videographers that exist in today's day and age. That I can guarantee you. Because this one mindset shift, whether it's you creating the videos yourself or you training your team, you must be having this conversation. In our office, it is a non-negotiable. 15 minutes, you must find 3 suitable tracks. And the beauty of life in general is the more we do this, the better we are at it. And there's a famous quote, you would have heard me talk about this before, but essentially, to be great at anything, at first you must be shit. To be great at anything, at first you must be shit. And so through the law of repetition, the more we book, the more real estate videos we book, the more we do, the more we select, the more we sit down when we've got nothing to do to just really dedicate, when we're in that flow state, to just selecting tracks. We can just fill our spreadsheet or our list with an endless bank of tracks that can just continuously be used. The biggest mistake people make is working on a project by project basis, whereby they sit down and the first thing they've got to do is select a track. If you're in the position where you have to select a track because you don't have anything banked up, it's a very, very dangerous way to play. Because what do 99% of people do? They grab their phone and they look at Instagram, at every other real estate video creator, and copy the last thing that was posted on YouTube or on Instagram. They add it to their saved list. Now you've been distracted. Now you're looking at a different platform. Now you're comparing yourself against someone else's video, which again is another really dangerous way to play as a creative. So this is truly how my track selection process works. As for the platforms, I use a number of different platforms. MusicBed being one of my favorites. And that's no secret. You can look at the videos on my YouTube channel. The most notable real estate videos have been tracked from that platform. And this is not sponsored, by the way. I just like the platform. But yeah, music underpins every single real estate video. It should be the number one focus, and yet it's the number one thing that most people disregard, because it can be literally like a leech that just sucks so much time out of you as a creative, can dishearten you, and it's just so unpredictable. We're not in the business of unpredictability. We're in the business of making real estate videos into a highly profitable machine that still maintains the creative flair, that gives us the ability to be creative. So it all comes down to the underlying structure that sits below the real estate video, and that is predetermined by the track itself. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Consider this when you're choosing the tracks on your next projects this week. And I look forward to catching you in the next one. If you have any questions, or if you found this valuable, drop a comment below. Catch you soon.